Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the new screensavers is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and once again, time for Twit's audience survey. We'd really like to hear from you. It's only going to take a couple of minutes, really. That's all. Just go to twit.tv/survey and let us know what you think. Your anonymous feedback will help us make Twit even better. And thanks for your continued support. The new Screensavers is brought to you by Curry, a real live robot with a great personality. Curry is available for pre-order now at heycurry.com. That's HEYKURI.com. And by Hover. Finding the perfect domain name is incredibly easy with Hover. Go to hover.com and use the promo code NSS at checkout to save 10% off your first purchase. And by Blue Apron, the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. See what's on the menu this week and get 3 meals free with your first purchase with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/NSS.
The Cloud Bleed Bug Explained, Panasonic's hot new camera, and 7 planets on another sun. Live from the Twit East Side Studios in beautiful Petaluma, it's the new Screensavers!
Iain Thomson from the Register is here. Hello, Iain. Good
Pleasure
to see
as
you.
always. Pleasure
Can
as
I
always.
just show you something? Rachel, can I show? Come here, Rachel. Rachel's visiting us. She works at a software company, Denver, Colorado. Look at that. She has Tetris tattooed on her. Is that awesome? And look at, there's a, oh my God, there's a Pac-Man. And then there's Mario. Do you play games? A little bit. Okay. I just noticed that as the show was beginning. Thank you, Rachel. It's nice to see you. And it's nice to see you, Iain.
Always fun, always fun.
This is going to be a big show. You wrote the story on the Register about, they're calling it now Cloud Bleed.
Yes, which is kind of a bit...
It's not fair.
Yeah.
But they're likening it to the big heartbleed bug, but in this case, it's for Cloudflare customers. Information leaked out. I love the picture you chose for your story on the Register. Information leaked out, including possibly crypto keys, passwords, customer data, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, central TLS keys were secure, but session tokens and other stuff may have leaked out. There's an awful lot of stuff which has leaked out in a very disjointed fashion, but it now seems that most of the caches have been cleared on the major search engines, at least.
Well, this was discovered last Saturday, a week ago, almost exactly a week ago, by Tavis Ormandy at Google. Tavis held back so that Cloudflare could fix it and that Google could clear its caches.
Responsible.
We have Nick Sullivan from Cloudflare who's going to join us in a moment. He's the head of crypto over there. So, because we wanted to get to the bottom of this. I've seen a lot of hysterical stuff. There's a big list that's being published on GitHub of every Cloudflare customer, and that's not fair because not every customer is affected. So we're going to get to the bottom of this and help you understand whether this is something you should be concerned about and what you could do to mitigate it. Well, also, this is big news this week. A solar system was discovered with 7 Earth-sized planets, 3 of which are in the Goldilocks Zone.
And they're all likely to have an awful lot of water on them as well because of the way they formed. So this is a really, really exciting discovery.
We have a planetary scientist from NASA Goddard. He's going to join us and talk about this discovery and explain what it all means. That's exciting. Yesterday, another big story, Nintendo Switch. Nintendo had its big event in San Francisco. We sent our intrepid team there, and they will have a first look at the Nintendo Switch. We also have a first look at Panasonic's new GH5 Micro Four Thirds camera. Dale Baskin, who joins us every month from DPReview, will be here.
Who knows his stuff,
Yeah, I can't wait for that. We're going to play Game of Geeks. This time Iain will still lose. And...
Oh, rub it in, why don't you?
And
Not
we
that I'm
got
a sore loser anyway.
This is a massive show. We better get going. Let's start right now with the head of crypto at Cloudflare, Nick Sullivan. He's on the line joining us. Hi, Nick. Welcome.
Hi, Leo and Ian.
Hey, Nick.
Thanks for having me on.
Have you had any sleep in the last week?
I've had a bit of sleep, but yeah, this has been keeping me up quite a bit.
All hands on deck. Cloudflare is a CDN, a content distribution network used by a lot of people. It's a really great service. It does a lot of things, including mitigate DDoS attacks.
We're a customer ourselves at the register.
A lot of people are. And on Saturday, as I mentioned, Tavis Ormandy of Google revealed, well, he discovered and then later revealed that there was a bug that was causing the release of some customer data. So first of all, in a nutshell, it wasn't your bug, was it? It was in a library you guys used?
Parser, I believe.
Yeah, so actually this was Friday afternoon. We were having an all-hands meeting and noticed a tweet from Tavis Ormandy.
Oh, God, that's just what you want on a Friday
So he
afternoon.
did go public?
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, someone from Cloudflare, please contact us immediately.
Does Tavis not have your phone number?
Yeah, he does, but that was the way that he reached out.
Okay.
In any case, we got a whole team together and took a look at what was happening, found the root cause, and
it's one line of code, as I understand it. And this is such a common bonehead programmer error. In a range check, he used equals instead of equals or greater than.
Yeah, that's right. So we have a lot of features that parse HTML. So one of the things that Cloudflare does is protect customers from scrapers. For example, for stealing email addresses, we have a feature that replaces email addresses with images that contain that email address. So we have a piece of code that goes through your HTML, parses it, looks for specific things. And we've had an old component doing that, a library that we've been using for about 5 years. And we were in the process of replacing that with a new, faster rewrite. And that's where the bug actually happened. So there was a latent bug, what you say, a classic overread bug in the old parser that was triggered by us transitioning to the new parser.
So it didn't show up until you transitioned. When did you make that transition to the new parser?
Yeah, we've been transitioning a lot of our services that do HTML rewrites from the old parser to the new parser. The first service that we started using the new parser with was back in September.
So that's potentially when this bug started to spit out information.
Yeah, so back in September of 2016, we launched a feature called automatic HTTPS rewrites, and this is to help people who have mixed content issues automatically fix those mixed content issues. And a small number of sites had that enabled, and if their web page had a specific type of malformed HTML, it triggered this bug.
So a couple of things. It's first of all, it's fixed now, right?
That's right. Yeah, we've turned off the offending features within less than an hour.
It was fixed almost immediately.
Yeah, it's 47 minutes. Yeah. My understanding was that you actually shut down the first system.
From the tweet to us turning things off, and we managed in the next couple of days to track down the bug itself and actually re-enable all those features.
Was there any evidence that this had been exploited?
No, from what we've seen, nobody really noticed that this was happening. In fact, the bug that was available in September was only leaking for very, very, very small number of pages. What actually triggered this and triggered Google finding it was that we had turned on another feature. We transitioned a new feature to this new parser on February 13th. And this is 2 weeks ago, and that was enabled for a much broader swath of Cloudflare's customers, and that's when some of the results that had embedded content were showing up in Google's cache, and that's how they found it.
And this was the email obfuscation feature, which sort of triggered this all off on the 13th.
That's right. So email obfuscation is on for a lot of customers, and although not all of them have malformed HTML in their websites, several of them did, and Google, as well as other web search engines that crawl the internet, who managed to hit those websites at that time, managed to get a little bit of leaked information into the websites that they cached.
And what information was leaked? Was this just a RAM leak? Where did this information come from, and what did it contain?
Yeah, this was a RAM leak, as you will. It was embedded memory of our reverse proxy service. And the type of things that we've seen in this memory include some internal Cloudflare headers. So we add different headers to your request as it goes through, as well as sort of random requests for other customers of Cloudflare. So if your site had enabled email obfuscation, someone hitting your site may see a little bit of chunk of data that's usually a bunch of random garbage bits, but may contain, say, headers or cookies from requests to other sites that use Cloudflare.
So that's why it's likened to Heartbleed. It was a similar kind of result. That they said Tavis or somebody at Google saw some of this leakage and went, whoa, that is not something that should be seen publicly. And that's really a big red flag. But it was random data. It wasn't, it could be leaking all sorts of different stuff. Sometimes sometimes secret, sometimes not, right?
That's right. The most common thing we saw were as I mentioned, some internal pieces of things that were in memory, and as you said, this is a memory leak inside the software. So it's stack memory, and that can contain a lot of different things. In the case of ones that we've seen in caches that we can track down, some of them are just complete requests for other assets for other Cloudflare services, including the request body and the request headers.
So the question everybody's asking is which sites are affected? What are the preconditions? What services of yours does a site have to have been using to be affected by this?
Well, one of the more interesting things about this bug is that you didn't have to actually use email obfuscation or any of these filters to be affected, but
so potentially it's anybody using Cloudflare?
Anybody using Cloudflare could have requests for their service being embedded in the sites that use Cloudflare that have the vulnerable services enabled.
I got to parse this one.
Yeah.
So it's not just every Cloudflare customer. They would also have to be what?
Well, they've got to have malformed URL.
They have to have a malformed URL, and they have to be okay.
Yeah, they've got malformed script. They've got to be. It's got to be.
In other words, it's not. It's potentially anybody, but it's really a subset of that, a fairly small subset of that could have been bit. Is that right?
So if there's a fairly small subset of requests to Cloudflare assets that would trigger this dump of information, but the information in the dump could be from anyone visiting any Cloudflare site.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
any
the key
user
point.
or any website.
Any user of any website that uses Cloudflare.
So this is really a big problem because it means, okay, I get it. And this explains to me why you haven't released a list of affected sites, because it's not that simple.
That's right. So what we did was we looked through Google's cache and all sorts of different places where people had crawled these affected sites and gotten these chunks of data. And we looked through all that information, and we only found messages from a few different Cloudflare customers. And some of them included authentication tokens. We've contacted those customers directly and let them know. But we never found anything to do with, say, passwords or social security numbers or credit cards or anything like that. It was usually just an authenticated request to one of the services.
Doesn't mean it couldn't be.
That's right.
Or it couldn't have happened, because it's just it's a random bunch of stack, and it could be anything in that stack, right? That's stack
right.
frame. Yeah.
And it's also mixed in with an awful lot of gubbins as well, so it's not easily scrapable.
Could have lots of gubbins in it.
Tons of gubbins. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not thrilled that Tavis Ormandy. I'm not thrilled that Tavis announced this in a public tweet instead of contacting you directly. I think it might have been more prudent. It sounds like, though, that doesn't much matter. Tavis and the Google team did work hard that weekend and for the rest of the week clearing caches.
Yeah, we were very happy that they let us know about the issue.
Yeah,
as soon
thank
as
goodness. You did everything you could do. So, I mean, this is a good example of Cloudflare and a company responding appropriately,
Well,
right?
Tavis was very complimentary about the response that he got and the speed of the response.
Yeah.
He even put in one of the engineers was just like, great, this is just what we want, an email from you on a Friday evening. But, I mean, it does seem like this has been cleared up quickly. I was really impressed that James came on Hacker News almost as soon as the
James?
your CTO.
Oh, John Graham Cummings.
John, we've had John on before. I love John. He's one of the great guys. We asked for John, but I think he's exhausted because it's also middle of the night in England. I take it you're in Calgary.
No, I'm in San Francisco, but
you're just a fan of the Stampede. All right, okay. Okay, so you're on our time zone.
Yeah.
I'm really thrilled we could have you. But and it sounds like everything that was done appropriately, and it was one of those weird bugs that, you know, got triggered in a very unusual confluence of events. It was a bad bug. Do we know who wrote that code, and can we spank them?
Well, we fixed the code, and we're in the midst of replacing it with a more modern stack and one that's much more well tested.
These things happen, but this is a pretty bad leak of information. What going forward should end users, people watching this show, what do they need to know about mitigating whatever risk they have?
Well, as I said, we don't really know exactly what the risk is, but doing the math, there was about a 5-day period in which around 120,000 requests were leaking data. So there is a very small possibility that, considering how many billions of users use Cloudflare sites every day, there's a very small percentage chance that a regular sort of everyday user has had their information compromised. And as I said, when we searched through Google's caches, we didn't find any passwords at all, let alone your passwords for every site that you use that uses Cloudflare. Right. So I would advise some caution. I'm not going to say that it's impossible that your password may have been compromised at one point, but it's unlikely given the statistics of the situation.
There's something like 0.00003% of requests to Cloudflare. Right. So that's why this is difficult, because you can't just say, well, everybody should change their passwords for Authy because Authy's a customer, because it's not that clear.
No.
So it's hard to make a recommendation at this point. In fact, even the sites that might be affected wouldn't necessarily say, hey, reset your passwords, because they don't know. If you were using two-factor authentication, would that be useful? Even if your password was leaked, that would help, right?
Yeah, and this is something that I say all the time. I'm a big advocate of two-factor authentication. So even if a request you made that had your password in it to a service was leaked, someone would not be able to take over that account if you have two-factor authentication enabled, because your second factor will have rotated and sort of changes every 10 seconds.
Right. Yeah, I mean, ideally you should have two-factor on absolutely everything you've got, because it's the only way to be even remotely secure.
Not everything, unfortunately, allows two-factors.
Don't get me started on that one. Right.
And you know, it doesn't hurt to update your passwords. And if you use a password manager like LastPass or 1Password, they have automated facilities that can go out and
and 1Password was straight out there saying, if you're using us, you're safe. We're not affected by this bug at all. So if you're using 1Password, then you're
and they have a Watchtower application that will let you know if there's an issue and help you change passwords. But it doesn't sound like. Let me give you this opportunity, Nick. In the coverage, and there's been a lot of it, I think some of it may be unnecessarily sensational, not yours, but others.
Gosh,
is there anything you want to correct, or here's an opportunity for you to talk to people directly. Is there anything that you at Cloudflare would like to correct about the reporting that's been done so far?
Well, rather than say correcting the media, I would go out there and say myself and John Graham Cummings personally are not going to be changing our passwords.
Okay.
We don't consider that this is a very high percentage chance of being compromised. And in terms of everyone should panic, maybe they shouldn't. Everything that happened in this bug was laid out sort of transparently on Cloudflare's blog. If people have interest in finding exactly how this happened and what sort of data is leaked, John Graham Cummings did a great job writing up a full, complete blog post about this in postmortem. So I would say this was a very bad bug, and the potential risk was very high, but I think in practical terms, the risk is pretty low.
It was about as good as you can be in a situation like this. And the response from Cloudflare, I think, was exemplary. I mean, you guys addressed it immediately, fixed it within 47 minutes.
The timeline was fascinating, actually. Publishing that in the incident report was a good move because it did give you a sense of the urgency that was in there. I gather with one of the programs, because it was slightly older, you didn't have a kill switch in there, but you still managed to patch it within about 3 hours.
Yes, that's right. So there were 3 features that were affected. The one you're mentioning is called server-side excludes. Again, this is a protecting your site from scrapers sort of bug, but we figured out how to disable it pretty quickly.
Good. Oh, nice job.
Okay, so don't panic.
Keep calm, carry on.
Everything worked as it should. Bugs do happen. They're always going to happen.
It's impossible to write complex code that doesn't have a bug in it.
This was a nasty one, but was fortunately discovered, sounds like quickly, and mitigated as quickly as possible. And you aren't changing your passwords, Nick. Although somebody said that's like the LifeLock guy giving out his social security number. It doesn't. It's not. But you know, I don't know you, Nick, but I know John very well, and I absolutely trust John. And I think you guys. It sounds like you've done the right thing. So, thank you for coming on and kind of letting us know exactly what happened. I guess if we continue to follow the Cloudflare blog, any updates will go there.
Yep, that's right. Anything that has to do with this that we come up with in the next couple of weeks, we'll put on the Cloudflare blog. So that's blog.cloudflare.com.
Got it. And a great Twitter handle, by the way.
What's his Twitter handle?
It's going to flash up there, yeah.
Oh, yeah, mine's at Gritty Grease. So, yeah, please follow me. I always update.
Anything you want to tell us about that handle?
Well, it's more of a metaphor for computer security.
Yes.
Sort of grease commerce, but, you know,
with
causes
grit,
accidents.
with a little grit in there.
Yeah,
Nick Sullivan, it's great to have you, head of crypto at Cloudflare. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Right. Thank you very much.
You satisfied? I mean, what do you think?
I mean, when we first read Tavis's report, because that came out slightly before the end, about 10 minutes before the incident report, and we're going through it, okay, right, yeah, this is potentially very serious. Ooh, that's potentially really serious, and then it kind of rolled back. We were a bit concerned based on, because initially Tavis was saying they're dealing with this very well, and then as you got into the forum posting, it was kind of like, hang on a second, they're flanneling a bit, they're trying to underplay this. I think in some sections of the press overplayed this. I think the worry was that Cloudflare were going to underplay this, and then I think they realized quite how big a storm of interest this was going on, and they dealt with it in as good a way as you could expect anyone to.
I went through some of the same thing. We were talking about this, Lisa and I were talking about this when it broke, and I first said, no, don't worry about it. This isn't a big deal. And then overnight, I noticed I was reading a lot on Reddit and on Cloudflare's blog and on the Register, and I started to get more and more concerned about it. And now I feel a little bit better. Yeah. Nevertheless, I did use LastPass's automated password change faculty. It's useful.
Oh no, it's very handy, and
one of the reasons you want to use
good security tactic as well.
Yeah,
but the one really annoying thing about this is we've now been deluged by calls from their competitors going, "Ha, you see, we told you they were
That's really
bad."
Unfortunate. I noticed a couple of CDNs were actually saying, "See, you can't trust them. You should use us."
Exactly.
That's not good. And you know what? It's also Schadenfreude, and it's also bad karma because it could happen to you. The problem is, this could happen to anybody. This is how computers are. They are not perfect.
It was a single check, and that was the whole thing. And, you know, for the want of a nail, the kingdom was lost, but they put it back together again. So, you know, it worked out.
But you look at it, I looked at the bug, and it's like, well, you learned that in, like, Computing 101.
Yeah, I know, but come on, how often... It's
a typo. It's basically a typo.
I learned not to put a hammer to my thumb when doing carpentry at school, but I still do it occasionally.
Occasionally you hit your thumb. There's another big security story coming out of Google this week. It's kind of interesting. Maybe we should explain it. There was a SHA-1 collision.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Basically, SHA-1 is a very old algorithm. It was developed back in the dawns of computing history.
It's a hashing algorithm that generates a unique multi-digit number to represent any set of data, typically files.
Yeah. Now, the idea is that it was safe because you couldn't actually get through and find a break and find a way to decrypt this without a massive amount of compute power. And then this week, Google announced that they had done it with a massive amount of compute power, much more than any of us would usually get our hands on. I mean, yeah, if you're talking about over 6,000 years of processor time, we're really going into the theoretical side of things here. You know, I mean, it's like, yes, it can be done, but you'd have to be absolutely bonkers to spend that amount of time and that amount of compute power, unless you know, the NSA will probably find some use for this, but
they could do it 1,000 years instead of 6, you know.
Yeah, you know. And
we've been talking about this for over a year on Security Now, because everybody, including Microsoft, has set a timetable. SHA-1 hashes are used in certificates for websites and in other places, but Microsoft has said we're going to start phasing those out. Google accelerated the timeline, and the whole point was not that it had been cracked, and I think it's often misrepresented, somebody has cracked SHA-1. No, it's just that computational capabilities have increased to the point where these older hashes, which 10, 15, 20 years ago it wasn't feasible to crack them. Yeah. Now that computation has gotten so fast, it's becoming more and more feasible. And there is a time in the future when it will be relatively trivial for somebody to crack it. That time has not yet come. But what Google was able to do, it took them 3 years, is create 2 PDFs with identical SHA-1 hashes. That meant that a bad actor could replace, let's say on GitHub, which uses SHA-1 to verify the files are intact. Let's say he put that in the Linux kernel. It's up there on Git. The Linux kernel, this is a very important file. If a bad guy could make a file with an identical hash that is
and
malicious and swap it in, no one would be the wiser, because it would still validate as having the same hash.
It would probably cause more problems further down the line. But
but that's why this is dangerous.
Yeah.
And the fact that it wasn't a good PDF and a gobbledygook file, but 2 real PDFs, legitimate-looking PDFs, was the kind of the scary thing.
Yeah.
However, as you noted, it took them 6,000 years of computational power to do it. It's not it's a non-trivial thing to do.
But it is really interesting, because, as you say, Google has been pushing to get rid of SHA-1 for a while. Mozilla's already sort of
it's being phased out of certificates.
Microsoft was dragging its feet a bit, and this is a really, really good way of Google to sort of push the let's dump SHA-1 movement on a bit.
Of course, the irony of all this is Google, in fact, still uses SHA-1 for its certificates. These are short-term 3-month certificates, so it's deemed they're safe. But nevertheless, it's still using them. It's a hard thing to phase out.
You know, it's very useful. It's one of those things that it will hang around for quite some time.
So now, but anyway, that's a big story. I think we can move on. We're going to cover the Uber story probably tomorrow. We've got a great TWiT panel, morning TV celebrity panel.
I still think you should have done the cage fight. You know,
I know, this would be awesome. Becky Worley from Good Morning America, David Pogue from CBS This Morning, and Clayton Morris from Fox and Friends will be on our TWiT panel tomorrow. But we will, I guarantee you, be talking about the Uber issue, and there's probably a lot more to talk about. To me, the biggest story of the week, the one that I'm most excited about, is our next story. Joining us right now, Vladimir Airapetian. He is an astrophysicist, a solar physicist, an astrobiologist. He is at NASA Goddard. Dr. Airapetian, thank you so much for joining us. Do I have to call you Doctor? Yep. Doctor. This is very exciting. 7 Earth-sized planets were discovered on a dwarf star. How far away is this dwarf star? I thought 5 light years, is that accurate? 40 light years. So it's not like we're going there tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to tell you a little bit about this discovery. This is an incredible discovery because it challenges our understanding of how Earth-like planets may form around low-mass stars. And the planetary worlds around TRAPPIST-1, this is the name of the star, should be very exotic and very different from our own. So, it's incredible that before 1995, we didn't even realize that we have so many strange worlds around us. And now we have discovered over 3,500 exoplanets and with 2,000 planetary systems.
We couldn't even tell there were exoplanets until very recently.
Right, yeah. So all we knew about like 8 planets in our solar system.
Right.
So I want to talk a little bit about this strange system. So let me introduce the start of the show, TRAPPIST-1 and 7 dwarfs. because
it is a red dwarf. That is not like the sun, right?
Well, it is much cooler. I call it a cool star, actually. It's a cool mother star and 7 dwarfs. So it's twice cooler than our sun. It's a little bit less than 3,000 kelvins surface temperature. So and it's 10 times smaller. It's a little bit larger than Jupiter. Okay, it's really a small star.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes, and because it's so cool and small, it's pretty dim. It's about 2,000 times dimmer than our sun. However, it is a very magnetically active star. It has a very strong magnetic fields, and this star flares. And it flares pretty frequently, and that's because this star is a young star. It's only 440 million years old star. And so in perspective of human life, I would say it's only 5 years old. Okay, so because it's expected to live for like another 10 billion years. And imagine that you have a young star and 7 dwarfs around this star. The conditions that those exoplanets experience are pretty exotic, because imagine that you take our Earth and move 100 times closer to our sun that we are right now, okay? 100 times close. So we will be grilled. But because the star is so cool and dim, so imagine or not, the conditions are habitable.
So I don't call them anything, but you call planets, or I've heard planets that are Earth-like, could support Earth-like life, Goldilocks planets, because they're in the Goldilocks zone.
Well, liquid water
They got water, they got the temperatures are within a reasonable range.
Right.
There are Goldilocks planets in this system.
Yes. So we have discovered number of Goldilocks planets, and in principle, if the conditions are mild, I'm talking about, ionizing radiation from the star, then the conditions could be favorable for life, because water is such an important ingredient of life. It's the major solvent of life. So we need water in order to dissolve molecules of life and create more complex biological molecules. However, imagine that if you place a planet pretty close to its host star, then the X-ray emission, UV emission can really be detrimental for the life forms. So that's why it is so important to understand each system, each star, separately in a case-by-case study. So I am really excited about this system, because we have a good laboratory, and this system is pretty close. We have an upcoming mission, the James Webb Space Telescope, that will be launched in November next year. And this telescope will present an absolutely incredible opportunity to observe this closed world. And so the Proxima b, that was another, you probably heard about this discovery, that was an exoplanet that was recently detected around the Proxima Centauri, which is the closest star to us. This is a little bit farther away, but still pretty close to us, to be observed by a powerful telescope like James Webb Space Telescope. So that's why I would say that we live in a golden era of the space exploration, and I'm really excited that in a few years we will have much better understanding of the nature of this world, and understand through the eyes of those exoplanets to understand the life on our own planet.
Yes, I understand when James Webb actually gets up and operational, then it will be able to search for signs of oxygen, methane, and ozone. Is it in these 7 planets?
Well, yes, if you're lucky enough, if the atmosphere is thick enough, yes, definitely we will try to look for signatures of life. And because the nitrogen, for instance, this is the one important ingredient of life. So no wonder that we have 77% of molecular nitrogen in the Earth's atmosphere. It's not a cosmic coincidence. It's a requirement for life. And then we have another thing. Another gas is an oxygen, which is a product of photosynthesis. So and then methane, it's the product of the decay. So those gases trace life. They're not life by itself, by definition, but they trace life. And of course, we're not gonna see those little green men, but we will be able to know whether conditions experienced, here on Earth are typical, because we want to know whether our planet is typical, whether our planetary system, solar system, is typical. And I would imagine in the next 10, 20 years, we will have definitely much more exact answers to those questions.
I guess one of the questions, one of the cosmic questions humans have asked is, are we alone in the universe? So that's one question that will maybe not be answered, but we'll have some evidence that maybe we're not unique. Maybe our planet is not unique.
I think it was Arthur C. Clarke who said that there are two possibilities: either we are alone or we aren't alone, and both of those are terrifying.
I know. But I also would guess that can we learn something about ourselves from what we learn from these planets?
Absolutely. So this, this over 3,500 discovered planets provide a unique opportunity to look for signatures of life and to understand our place in the universe. Because the question of are we alone suggests that we want to understand that whether even microbial life, that now we understand that the microbial life should be pretty typical, should be pretty widespread, across the universe, across our galaxy, for instance. So now that we understand, we now, since 1953 and the experiments of Mira and Euler and Urey, when the first amino acids was synthesized, in the laboratory. Now our group, together with in Japan, so I have collaborators at the Tokyo Institute of Technology, we're trying now to reproduce a nucleobases, the building blocks of RNA molecule from those, from the gases of that we believe were major constituents of the early Earth.
So you're trying to answer one of the most fundamental questions, which is how did life arise from this chemical stew? And if you can simulate that, that is just yet another piece in this mystery. Mm-hmm.
Although there is always the possibility that it came in, hitched a ride on a meteorite and came in.
But it had to arise somewhere, right?
Yeah. Right, exactly right. So that the group that I'm heading now, it's called the Mission to Young Earth 2.0. And the major goal of this group is to find another planet pregnant with life.
Wow.
So we're trying to find a planet in the, making life. So because one thing that we have a theory, another thing, we reproduce this, we calibrate this theory, validate the theory in the lab, and the ultimate goal is to find it, a planet, around young sun, resembling our sun 3.8 billion years ago. And now that we know what kind of molecules to look for, we will look for the major, simplest ingredients that gonna make complex sugars and eventually building blocks of RNA and DNA molecule.
Oh, so, it's amazing.
Yeah, I'm really very excited about it. And I would tell you that by the end of this year, we will have results of our experiments. We have our first paper about the first production of amino acids from bare chemical elements like molecular nitrogen,
Fantastic.
Carbon dioxide, methane, and a little bit of water vapor. So, but
well, you just throw them in a box, shake them up, and life emerges. I mean, it's got to have some. conditions must be very specific, yeah?
Well, one thing that I'm learning and understanding now, that in order to see that if you throw these molecules and wait, then nothing will happen. And that's why, from that standpoint, only miracle can make it.
Right.
However, if you throw this molecule and supply some energy, supply some energy, and make and this energy, like lightning or energetic particles, like in our model, energetic protons from the young sun, then those energetic particles, they dissociate those molecules, they create simpler pieces, and those simple pieces suddenly becomes reactive. They start to create new pieces of new molecules that are much more reactive than the original molecules, the inert molecules, like molecular nitrogen. So and then you add them to water and irradiate with the protons, you get nuclear bases. So life needs a lot of energy. So I say that water is cheap, but life is expensive. It is energetically expensive.
It is amazing. I remember talking to scientists in the early 90s saying, well, there might be other planets out there, but we have never observed that. Now we know, not only do we know there are other planets out there, but there are Earth-like planets out there, and there are thousands of them. And now you're attempting to demonstrate in this experiment in Japan that it might not even be very far-fetched that the particular conditions for life to emerge might actually be common enough. It sounds like you can't prove this, but it sounds like, given the billions and billions of stars and billions of galaxies, that the likelihood is, we've seen so many planets already, that there is life out there. That this is it. You can't prove it, but it seems highly likely. Is that accurate?
Absolutely, it seems highly likely, and the astrobiologists, from the internet and our community, astrobiological community, are pretty optimistic that life should be a mandatory state of matter.
Wow.
Even I would
that
way.
So
not merely exist by chance, but actually.
Right.
Everywhere,
given the circumstances. You need to have, certain bare gases. You need to have energy. I would compare it like, when I trying to explain what life needs, I say, what do you need in order to make a cookie?
Right.
Life cookies, let's say. So you need,
chocolate chips, flour, butter, and an oven.
Yeah, right. And then oven, that's your energy.
The sun, yeah.
That's supplied by the sun, exactly. You need the dough and water. That's all. 3 ingredients, generally. And given the chance, but you need to apply this oven, you need to keep this dough, in the oven for about 100 million years. And this kind of so-called, it's not a miracle anymore then. It's just a mandatory requirement, because you keep trying to keep producing pieces, and you help the complexity to go on and on and on, producing the up to some point. It's like, you have a small wave, ripples on the water, right? So you add more energy, you increase the amplitude of it, and eventually you create a tsunami. You create a rock wave. And imagine at some level, the rock wave, it's a structure that doesn't need any additional conditions to function. It will now, interact with rock waves like its own. That's what life is. It will forget about its dark past, about its, the primitive conditions. It will live, and it will interact, and will reproduce, and will follow Darwinian evolution.
And of course, once you have reproduction, the rest follows.
Right.
So,
right. Absolutely.
Until the sun gets nasty again and fries the entire planet.
Now, what about? So then we've got all of the pieces for Fermi's paradox, because we can posit that life is commonplace, must be commonplace. So why have Where are they? Why haven't we met them?
That's another question. When I talk about life, I imply microbial life.
It's not civilization. I understand.
No. But and look, life on Earth started 3.8 billion years ago.
Right. Takes a while.
And it existed for a couple of billions of years as at least 1.5 billion years as a single-celled organism.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It's only later it started to become more complex. Multicellular organism eventually. Yeah. And look, the human life is not a necessary I would say form of life. For instance, before they
might just be, sagebrush. That's pretty complex.
Before disappearance of dinosaurs 65 years ago, we didn't have a niche, for life.
Right.
Dinosaurs occupied all possible niches, and it was a cosmic coincidence that they were killed. And they opened up a new avenue for us.
No asteroid, no mammals.
Yep.
No mammals, no space travel.
So therefore, us, and there is a big gap in terms of the evolution from single-celled organisms to us.
Right.
So that might resolve the Fermi's paradox that we, and you have to also keep in mind that, to produce humans, we are very, very vulnerable to the, to external conditions, to stellar catastrophes. Imagine that you have a supernova explosion and the star is not that far away. It can kill life.
Right.
Some of the calculations show that you can really reduce the amount of ozone, in the atmosphere by like 70% for many months, to letting the ionizing radiation pass through the atmosphere. So a lot of things can go on, and so if you take that in the perspective of life on other planets, I'm pretty optimistic that we can find it, but it will take some time. However, microbial life will be much more easier to spot.
Okay.
And we definitely should go for it.
This is so exciting. Now I'm really excited.
Yeah.
This is really exciting. We live in amazing times. Dr. Airapetian, I really thank you for your time. You are doing some very exciting work. I know you must be very excited about this. And we'll look for the report from Japan of the, Journey to Earth, Young Earth 2.0?
That's right.
Yeah, how exciting! We'll be watching. We'll get you back after the mission is accomplished.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Airapetian.
Very much indeed.
Is that exciting?
It's just marvelous. I mean, this is. I've been science fiction nuts since I was a wee nipper, and these are great times that we're living in. We've actually got the ability to detect this stuff, and the only reason they spotted this is because they were looking at a star for long enough to see the planets cross over the face of the sun between us. It's just the engineering involved is immense.
Amazing.
It's a gorgeous piece of kit.
Just as long as there's no cookbook involved to serve man. Other than that, I'm not worried. Okay?
Yeah. Well, let's face it, cookies after that period of time, you're going to be like,
what is in the oven?
Cafeteria.
As long as it's not us, I don't care. Hey, we're going to take you to the height of man's evolution, a Nintendo Switch event coming up in just a little bit. We sent a team down there yesterday, but first, a real live robot. We are in amazing times. Wouldn't you like your first robot?
Fun time to be alive.
I think your kids 20 years from now will say, I remember when we got our first robot. It was that cute little Curry. Remember Curry? Oh, whatever happened to her? I love Curry. Curry is your new plastic pal that's fun to be with. And you can see her right now at heycurry.com, K-U-R-I. HEYKURI.com. I spent some time with Curry down in Redwood City a couple of weeks ago. And it's hard to imagine how adorable this little robot is. It's about knee high. They don't want to make something that's scary or intimidating. So it's tiny. It kind of looks like
rounded corners.
Yeah, it's like Rosie from the Jetsons. She blinks, or he blinks. It could be any gender. I don't know if it's gender specific. It looks at you, responds to you, doesn't speak, but bleeps and bloops, which are much less kind of intrusive. But you do understand. You can understand yes and no, and I don't know what's going on. We did some fun things, like we were standing in a group talking, and Curry will join the conversation, not say anything, but look at each speaker. Because Curry can recognize you, she can recognize your voice, she can follow you around, she can check out the house. She has a camera in her, so you can actually send her on tests, like go get a picture of the living room, or is the dog on the couch, go check. You can also ask Curry to wake you up in the morning, play your favorite music or podcast, and then say, Curry, follow me as you go brush your teeth, make breakfast, walk out the door. Well, she can't go out the door, don't worry. She actually can't go downstairs. She can go over door jams, though. She's got little tank tread feet, a heart light.
Put a little tray on top of the head, and perfect coffee delivery
You can
service.
pat her on the head. She actually has sensors there, and she'll respond. Yeah. And Curry's almost hardware complete. They're going to ship Curry. It's from Mayfield Robotics, probably towards the end of the year. They're still working on software, and we went down there and we talked to the team and say hi to Adam and the team down there, and they're working on so many cool features. So Curry is a work in progress, but you can, if you want, put down a $100 refundable deposit so that you can get Curry towards the end of the year when she ships. I am first in the line. She will go back to her charger and charge up. She's got very good speakers, by the way, and 4 MEMS microphones so she can hear from all directions and understand what direction it's coming from. She has radar in her. She'll map your apartment or your house so she knows where everything is. But if there's new obstacles, she has the camera. She can respond to those and walk around them. You can name parts of the house, so you could say go to the kitchen and she'll know where that is. It really is cool. And I think it's a great way, if you've got kids, you know what, she's kind of like a presence in the house. She's kind of like a pet or something. It's like, it's hard to describe this. Go to the website and find out more, HEYKURI.com. Put down that refundable $100 deposit. She'll be $6.99. So you'll owe $5.99 plus tax and shipping at time of purchase. But you're not required to. But I would get in line if I were you, because I think you're going to want Curry. People who saw her at CES were really enchanted. She's really cool. Or Kids love her. She'll read them stories. Hey, Curry, so she can speak, but it's pre-recorded stuff.
Yeah.
When she talks to you with her own voice, it's just blip, 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 blip. Really cute. Hey, Curry, HEYKURI.com. Your first robot. It's almost here. So excited. We'll keep her in the studio. I think it'd be fun. She'll just wander around. She'll just show up. Yes, Curry, what is it? Yes. Next week, the Nintendo Switch is arriving. A few of our close friends already have them. Nathan Olivarez-Giles got his for review. He was down at the Nintendo Switch event in San Francisco. We sent Bryan Burnett and Anthony Nielsen, our technical director and editor, down to visit, and they had this report. Watch.
Bryan Burnett here in San Francisco to check out the new Nintendo Switch. We're at a preview event here at Fort Mason, and we're going to see what all the excitement is about for the new console. Let's go check it out.
At least I got the hat.
So, as luck would have it, I ran into Nathan here at the Nintendo Switch event, and we actually just got done playing Mario Kart 8, which was a blast.
It was, except that you beat my butt, man. I couldn't even come close.
So we finally have gotten to play with it, touch the Switch. The hardware feels good, but playing with the Joy controllers, I feel like if I had a slightly larger hand, or if I was playing for, let's say, more than an hour, I might be a little cramped. Did you get that same sense with like the bumper controllers and stuff?
Yeah, you know, on a game like Mario Kart in portable mode, I guess my hands were far enough apart that it felt good. But that being said, we maybe played 15, 20 minutes, right? I don't know if I'd want to do that for hours and hours on end. When you go over and you play Splatoon 2 or you play Zelda, they have the Pro Controller, which is kind of similar to what you have with an Xbox or PlayStation. That felt good. The buttons are spaced out the way that I want them to. It's relaxed. So I could see the portable mode working maybe on a short plane ride, but if you're going to fly cross country, you might hope that you bring an iPad along or at least something to watch on your phone, because that's going to get tiring after a while, I think.
As far as software, the thing that you've been impressed with so far is Zelda?
Yeah, Breath of the Wild is fantastic. taking Zelda to an open world game, kind of GTA style, really works. And the game so far has kind of eased you into understanding, where you need to go, how you need to defeat enemies that are going to just beat the hell out of you as soon as you run into them, how to pick up weapons. It's really a beautiful, fun game. And it really feels like something I could play for months on end, which is important because the launch lineup is pretty thin.
The launch lineup's pretty thin, and I think as far as what we've experienced here today, a lot of the things that are fun to do with the Switch involve multiple people.
Yeah, 1-2 Switch. I feel like that's going to be really the game that's going to tell us about, kind of where things are going. The Wii was a big hit because of Wii Sports. It was inclusive. It brought everybody in. It got you off your butt. It showed you something you haven't done before. 1-2 Switch, I feel like could have that potential. I haven't got play much of it, just a few games here. But the Samurai game, the cow milking game, there's like a Wild West shooter. Those all look really fun and like the sort of thing that I want to bust out at a party with some friends. That being said, none of those games you can play alone. So you have Zelda and you have that, but Mario Kart's not coming for a while. ARMS was really fun. That's not coming for a while. Splatoon 2 looks great. So it's going to be a big summer for Nintendo, an important one. They better not have any delays.
So are you looking forward to when you get your hands on it for good?
Yeah, this gives me this experience here today gives me a little bit more hope that they'll actually have some stuff to play. If by the end of the year there's maybe a couple dozen really great games, I'm gonna feel good about that pre-order I already did. I feel a little burned by the Wii U. I bought it and it took months and months and months before there were really great games. And now at the end of that life cycle, there's a lot of good stuff that's gonna be ported over, like Mario Kart. But Nintendo needs to not blow this. So I'm feeling hopeful, but I've been burned by Nintendo before. We'll see.
Reserve your expectations. That's good. I actually skipped the Wii U, didn't get it, so I'm a little bit more excited about getting the Switch. But yeah, first few months are probably going to be guinea pigs. But yeah, if you're a gamer, this will probably be the console that will switch you back on.
Or not. Or not. Or not.
Yeah.
Or not.
The lack of games was a bit telling on that one. If you're going to invest in the platform, you want to make sure there's the killer game for you.
You have normal man hands. I think you don't have the tiny hands that you need. Play this.
Well, the president will like it.
Somebody will like it. We will have a full review. I'm not sure who, but we're going to have a full review from somebody who has it right now. And that'll be next week on the new Screensavers.
But also with those things, you don't really use the portable game that much unless you're on an aircraft or something like that.
So you dock it to the TV. It has an HDMI port, right?
Yeah.
And then do you do a regular controller, or do you still have to use those weird little?
I think he had a regular controller and the side things.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, it's nice, it's cute. They're still going with the motion-sensitive things, which really helps with some games and really hinders with others. But
I just think Nintendo spent a lot of time focusing on oddball hardware, like the Wii U, the Wiimotes, and now this.
Yeah.
And really, what makes a gaming system work is games.
Yes.
And good games.
I mean, they've got Mario, they've got Zelda,
they've got titles,
they've
got
names.
classics,
yeah.
But do they have great games, and will they be on the Switch?
Yeah.
And that's every game system sinks or rises depending on that.
I mean,
ultimately,
Xbox would have died on its backside if Halo hadn't come along, because at launch, all the other games were terrible.
And I think you can make the argument that PlayStation 4 is winning right now, not merely because it was less expensive, but because it had games people wanted to play.
There's the rub.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. We'll have a review next week. Let's get a review now. Dale Baskin is here. He is, of course, our friend from DPReview, the best camera review site in the world. Hello, Dale.
Hey, and speaking of the world, I feel a little bit inadequate compared to your astronomer, so I'm trying to build my own little solar system of cameras here.
Dale has discovered life on the planet Panasonic.
We have this week, absolutely.
Yeah. So this is a camera everybody's been talking about. We've been talking about for some months, right? The Panasonic GH5.
Yeah, the Panasonic GH5 is an incredibly exciting camera. It's one we've been looking forward to for a long time. And it's really because Panasonic's GH series has always been at the forefront of video capabilities. And we're usually all about still photography, but this is a camera that takes great photos too, but this is all about video.
Now, it's a Micro Four Thirds camera, right?
Exactly. And Leo, I think you even had one of these right here.
I had the GH1. I bought the GH1, yeah.
We pulled out the original GH1 for comparison, and this is really the camera that got the video trend going with Panasonic. The GH5 has grown quite a bit bigger, but it's a whole lot more powerful.
So one of the things I like about Micro Four Thirds, it's a small sensor, that's a negative, but its mount is standard. So you get lenses from a huge number of manufacturers, which gives you a great range of choices, better than any system I can think of.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an open standard on the Micro Four Thirds mount. Primarily, the cameras are made by Panasonic and Olympus, who both make lenses, but there are Voigtlander lenses, there are Zeiss lenses, there's a number of other companies. But the great thing is the flange distance between the back of the lens and the sensor is so short that you can adapt virtually any lens that's ever been made to work on these. I personally use them with old Nikkor lenses.
Do you use a Metabones adapter, what kind of, or something like that to work with it?
Those are available as well. They have what they call speed boosters, which essentially concentrate the light to allow you to maintain roughly your same field of view. But you can actually just stick something on here, and it effectively doubles the focal length. Your 50 millimeter lens becomes 100.
Right. Yeah, I'm just looking at my Amazon history. I bought the GH1 in 2010, so this is a long time ago. I loved it, and I did shoot a lot of video with it. It was $1,000 at the time. So the GH5, how much?
Well, it's coming in a little bit higher, and part of that is inflation, part of it is capability. It's $2,000 for the body.
Okay. And I have plenty of lenses. That's the good news. What's the kit lens?
The kit lens that it comes with is a 12 to 60 millimeter. It's a variable aperture f2.8 to f4, if I recall. So far, it's been a beautiful lens to use, though.
That's a good basic lens, right, to start with?
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember if this actually comes as a kit with the camera or if it's sold separately, but this is a new lens that Panasonic has announced along with the camera, and we've been really happy with it. It's in 35 millimeter talk. It's about 24 to 120 millimeters. So it's a great all-around walk-around lens.
So is the GH5 available now? I mean, can I order it now, or do I have to wait?
You can pre-order it now. You may be in line for a while.
March 30th, it says. Yeah. Okay.
And we've been given heads up that the pre-orders on this thing are so heavy that you may be may be in a line.
Now, that's funny because the Micro Four Thirds sensor is smaller than even the APS-C sensor. This is a lot of money, $2,000 for a camera. Is it all about the video, or do people still use this for stills?
People absolutely do use this for stills, and so far we've been very happy with it. The color actually seems to be improved versus other Panasonic cameras. So they put a lot of work into both sides of this camera.
What's the 6K photo mode they're talking about?
You know, the 6K photo mode is something we're really excited about. Panasonic on some of its other cameras has already introduced what it calls 4K photo mode, where it essentially takes a 4K video stream, say 30 frames per second, and you can go in after the fact and choose which frame you want to export as an actual photograph. The downside of 4K photo is it's only about an 8 megapixel picture. With this new sensor, Panasonic is able to do a 6K photo mode, which allows you to take 18 megapixel frames straight out of this live video stream.
So in effect, it's a 30 frame per second burst mode.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Wow.
And it's very impressive.
Who should buy this camera?
You know, I would buy this camera if you're serious about video. What Panasonic has done here is they've blurred the line between their professional video camera division and their stills camera division, and they brought in all kinds of advanced video features such as 4:2:2 color, 10-bit video, the ability to shoot in log. It even comes with or has available as an option an add-on where you can add in XLR microphones, which is not a common attachment style of camera.
Yeah.
So this is a camera that should really appeal to indie filmmakers, enthusiast videographers, or event photographers who need to capture video.
I was going to say, that's broadcast quality, so yes, it's that could be very handy on a wide variety
It's
of
better
apps.
if broadcast if you could shoot 4K,
true, yes,
right?
But
I've been shooting a lot of video on my Sony A7S. And the S has many of those features. It has the log mode, log shooting. I don't know if it does 422. 422 is pretty amazing quality. How does this compare to something like that? That's a full frame sensor.
That's a full frame sensor. There's a little bit of a philosophically different approach in full frame versus a Micro Four Thirds. One of the things with Sony's cameras is you're really going to be using E-mount lenses or say EF lenses from a Canon.
Which are pretty limited.
They're more limited than what you could put on this.
Yeah.
But part of what you gain with full frame is that really, really shallow depth of field. And for some things, that can be an absolute advantage. But for other things, like shooting an interview or events where things are moving around very quickly, sometimes you don't necessarily want that level of shallow depth of field because things come in and out of focus too quickly.
Do you get that rubbery rolling effect on the Panasonic sensors?
You will, on any camera that doesn't have what we call global shutter, see a little bit of what we call the jello effect.
Yeah.
And the Panasonic certainly has that as well. Although what we've seen is it's much more well controlled on this camera than it has been on previous cameras.
And I presume that there are the usual accessories. I mean, these cameras that have been out for a while, you could pretty much load them up like you would make a movie with them, with all sorts of, sensors, viewers and mounts and all that. Is all of that stuff, will that be available for the GH5 as well?
It's all available. Yeah. It has all of the normal ports out for HDMI out if you want to use an app showgun.
It's live HDMI out?
It's live HDMI out. It's very clean signal. A lot of people use off-camera recorders with this type of setup.
You're going to use this for your reference?
This will likely become one of our reference cameras. I think one of the amazing things about the GH4, which we have right here, is this is a camera that's over 2 years old now, and it really set the standard for what a camera in this class could do for 4K video, and it remains one of our references to this day because it was so advanced at the time. So we expect a similar result from this.
So if I were to summarize, it's basically a competent stills camera, perfectly good still camera, but really the GH5 from Panasonic sings as a video camera.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't even just call it a competent stills camera. It's a very good stills camera, so I don't want to sell it short.
Now you make me want one. That's what the problem with having Dale on our show every month is. It's getting expensive.
Yeah, this is the problem with cameras.
Every month, Leo, every month.
Do not bring, whatever you do, that Leica M10 next month, or I might have to do something.
Leo, just because I know you're a Leica guy.
That's cruel. That's cruel.
I thought I would just hold out the Leica SL so you could try to virtually touch it through the monitor.
That's the one I want.
Hold him back. Hold him back.
Actually, I'm really interested in the M10, and I know you have your first look was very positive on that, so I'll look forward to that. The SL is interchangeable lens. It's very expensive. It may not be right for me, but I think the rangefinder M10. Anyway, we'll talk about that sometime in the future. You guys have photo challenges. Why don't you fill us in on those so we can give you a little plug? I'd like to participate. These are photo contests. Voted on by your readers.
Yeah, this is a great time to talk about photo contest, what we call photo challenges, because we just announced the winner of what we call our Challenge of Challenges. So challenges were actually a community-driven thing that appeared on DPReview because people started doing it in the forums. It wasn't something we invented.
Cool.
And somebody would come up with a crazy challenge like, show us pictures of bears who are eating salmon on a Tuesday. and it would become this critique and criticism type of thing. It became so common that we actually built it into the platform on our site so that community members can drive challenges. It's a fantastic way if you're a new photographer or an experienced photographer to get involved in our site. You can upload a photo to a challenge and other people will vote on it. They'll give you suggestions and feedback. And then right now we have what we call our Challenge of Challenges, which is our readers voting for the best of all the 1,000 or so challenges we did last year. And there's a gallery on our site right now, and there's some really amazing photos. But
beautiful.
Topics range from the mundane, like leaves, I think is on our site right now, or environmental portraits. But we also have things on our site right now, like I think She Blinded Me with Science, and then another one is Garbage in Your City. So it really helps you get out of that rut you might be in if you're always photographing one thing and needed inspiration to do something else.
I like the winner of She Blinded Me by Science. That is that is a totally beautiful and technically very challenging photograph. I love that. Just gorgeous. You have some very talented readers. Dale Baskin, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Leo. Thanks, Ian.
You got my mouth watering. The Panasonic GH5. Read more at
Lock up his credit cards.
DPReview.com. Yeah, get those credit cards loaded up. Very exciting. We're going to continue in just a moment with a call for help. Yes, we have a viewer ready to ask a tough question.
Indeed, and one that's a viewer off to my own heart because we share a taste in phones.
Oh, you like to eat them?
Hang on, have we got the right one?
I'm sure that's correct. Our show today brought to you by hover.com. That's where I go to make my new domain registrations. It's where you ought to go to when you have a great idea for a blog, a startup, an invention. You need to give it a great domain name. In fact, that's oftentimes the first thing you do is see, you can't name a company till you check the domain, right? With Hover, it's easy to set up your domain name with the most popular website builders. They have over 400 domain extensions. Of course, they've got .com and .net, but they also have things like .design and .tech. You better believe I have some .tech.
Oh, yes.
Yes, URLs. Quirky extensions, .pizza, .ninja.
Oh, for goodness sake.
.horse. Ian.horse. I see it. It's perfect. Once you find your domain, Hover Connect will set up your domain automatically with the website that you use. It works great with Squarespace, with WordPress, just a few clicks. You can also use it to get more on-brand or professional email address. That's what I do for my Leoville address. I have it all go. Look, there's Mark Fraunfelder. He uses it. Boing Boing uses Hover.com. Who doesn't use Hover.com? When Steve Gibson, a couple of months ago, maybe it was middle of last year, was ready to move all his domain names off that legacy domain registrar we all used back in the 90s. He asked on Twitter, who should I go to? The answer was almost unanimous, Hover.com. And that's where Steve moved his domain names. That's where all of our domain names. They only do domains and emails, so you can focus on finding a great domain name and getting back to work on your great idea. And they do include, and this is really important, for free, Whois Privacy. So you'll see that as an upsell among 100 other upsells on some of these other registrar sites. You get it for free automatically as part of your Hover domain registration, Whois Privacy. With volume discounts, the more domains you have in your account, the more the discount, Hover will automatically apply. And there's no more digging through help articles to figure out how to get your domain working. They'll do it for you. Just call the Hover team. They have the best support team in the business. Find the perfect domain name for your idea. Go to hover.com. Promo code for this show, NSS. That'll save you 10% off your first purchase. Hover.com. Promo code NSS. By the way, really simple DNS management, all the things that you want. I'm always in the DNS console on hover.com, and it's easy peasy. Hover.com, offer code NSS. All right, before we do our call for help, I want Ian to get his day in the sun.
Yes, just to show my shame. I understand. I can't believe I was beaten. I thought I had that in the bag.
You should have won this one.
Sorry.
We play this great game called Game of Geeks. Did you invent Game of Geeks? I think you did. I really like this. And this is a new round in the Game of Geeks. We've never played this before. Iain Thomson joined Jason Calacanis and me, our host, Father Robert Ballecer. Watch.
Welcome to the Game of Geeks. It's the Twitch show where we take 3 contestants and put their tech knowledge to the test. And we've got 3 contestants that are worthy of the Game of Geeks. We've already introduced them in a previous round. Mr. Jason Calacanis, angel investor extraordinaire. Mr. Iain Thomson, he is a reporter for The Register, the nicest person in the studio at the moment. And Leo Laporte, I probably shouldn't have said that because this man signs my paychecks. That's right, gentlemen.
It doesn't go to you, though. That's the irony.
It goes to the church.
Yeah.
Are you ready to play the Game of Geeks?
I am.
Right. Yes, what are we doing?
We've got a specific game that we designed for you. Okay, we're gonna disable after just a second.
And the answer is?
This game is called
Albatross.
Sound Bites. It's gonna stress your ears as much as it stresses your brain. The idea is you're gonna have 10 sounds that every geek should know. It should be in your geek
turn off
DNA.
the chat room?
We should probably turn off the chat room. Absolutely.
Because that's how Leo cheats.
Now, this is how it's gonna work, though.
I have people in my ear.
You're gonna hear a tune.
Okay.
First person to buzz in gets to try to answer that. If you answer wrong, your buzzer gets locked out, and the other 2 get to hear it again.
Is it all music?
It's all music, all audio.
It's okay. Audio
or music?
It may not be music.
All audio.
And we just have to name that tune.
You just have to name that
tune.
tune.
Song. It could be a sound.
If I could offer you a bit of advice, though, you're really going to want to buzz in and make sure that you've been called before you give the answer.
Yes.
Yeah, no tipping off your...
No tipping off.
I'm green flashing
Give me a
at the
second.
moment.
Now you're yellow.
Gentlemen, let's get ready to play the Game of Geeks. This first tune is something that each and every single one of you should know, so Anthony, push that button. That's to over to Jason.
That is your phone ringer from a...
5 seconds.
Oh, my God.
Gentlemen, wait a minute. We're going to play it again for the remaining contestants.
Oh, I know it now. Now I know it.
Leo Laporte.
It's the Nokia ringtone.
It is 10 points.
Yeah, but who remembers Nokia?
Okay, wait. We got the cobwebs out. Now we know. Now we know. But Jason, great initiative on bringing in. You knew it.
I knew it. You did.
Okay. This one
I was
may actually be even more iconic than that first one. Gentlemen,
T-Mobile. Oh, sorry.
That's what I was going to say. Oh, boy. Now, before we start, let me just say that this sound came from a man who is now an Uber driver in Ohio. I'm not sure if that's a hint, but at least that's a tip.
Damn it.
You've got mail.
Damn it. I was going to...
Oh, my goodness.
What's up? You
can't do it before the
Boom. He gave the tip. I gave the answer. Give me my points.
10 points. Oh,
Do you know his name?
I don't know his name. I don't need to know his name.
It doesn't matter.
10 points. I don't.
You know, Anthony, go ahead and play it just for fun.
You've got mail.
That's incredible. Okay, Jason Calacanis, not only do you get the points, but you get mad respect for that one. Oh, my goodness. All right. No tip for this one.
I had, for a while, he was trying to make money by recording custom versions.
Right.
And I have a recording somewhere of him saying, "You've got mail, you twit."
Yeah. Nice. We should have used that.
Yeah.
All right, here we go with the third clue. No tip. No tip, because obviously
reset the buzzer.
I'm too good, people.
We're reset. Anthony, anytime you have, push the button. To Ian.
Windows 95 startup soon.
Wow. Okay, I was going to settle for Windows, but yes, Windows 95 startups. Fantastic.
Who doesn't know that?
That is 10 points
I can
to
even
Ian.
tell you who composed it as well. Yeah, Brian Eno.
Wow. You know what? We're going to give 5 bonus points for that.
You're going to need to get some more obscure sounds.
We're going to have to do a lot of bonus points for this.
Just give him 1,000 points.
There we go. Okay, let's go to the sound number 4, resetting. And, gentlemen, what is this sound? Leo Laporte.
It's mail going out.
That's yes.
But what is it from? I'm going to say it's not Mac because that's a whoosh.
2 seconds.
It's Android mail going out.
Oh, wait, gentlemen, you get a chance to steal here. Play the sound again.
Eudora now.
Oh no, Ian rung in.
Is it Eudora? Is it Eudora?
Remember the tip about making sure that you were the one who pushed the button.
This is a tricky one because I thought I'm kind of iffy on mine. I'm actually going to go with AOL Mail.
Okay, Jason.
Eudora now going out.
That's unfortunately also wrong.
Wait.
It's a sent iMessage.
Wait a minute. I know this one. What is it again?
Leo was the closest. He knew it was a message.
It's AIM.
It's from iPhone message.
That's what I was thinking.
I knew it.
Lisa knew it.
But it's not email. I said email. It's a message.
That's iMessage.
No points.
Okay, no points.
Damn it,
Ian is still in the lead.
Wait, you gave Ian an extra 5 points?
No, Ian.
Lisa gets 5 points.
Shouldn't I get extra 5 points for knowing?
Well, if you had waited for the sound, maybe.
This is rigged against
You got
me.
your points.
This is rigged against. I feel like the Warriors last year.
All right.
The whole NBA is
Sound
against us.
number 5. Play it.
Oh, I know this.
Ian.
So easy.
THX intro.
THX intro, 10 points to Ian.
Can you tell us what key that is?
Leo,
No,
Jason,
but I
hate to
can
tell you this,
hear
but
Grandpa
the
Simpson
grid
going,
is running away with an American game.
How many more? Is there any way of catching up?
Oh, yes. You got 5 more. You're halfway through the game.
Okay, don't worry about it.
Let's go to sound number 6. Let's run a bit more
This
quickly.
is good. I like this one.
And we've got sound 6.
Donkey Kong.
Ooh.
Play it again. Oh.
Mario Death.
Mario Death. That is the death sound from Super Mario Brothers.
Wait, hold on a second.
You know, we should get the Donkey Kong sound.
Because Mario Brothers is Donkey Kong, and I believe it's the same
he wasn't
sound.
Mario yet. He was pre-Mario.
I thought
that's Donkey Kong. It's much more primitive
Kong death sound.
because it was 8-bit. It was
Yeah.
That was
Okay.
Mario.
Points
The one is based on the other. It's derivative
Give me some
words.
points. Give me some
It's
points.
like a
Give me some
cover
points.
version.
Ian gets another 10 points.
No, he doesn't.
No, I don't.
Oh,
Leo
wait.
did.
Who?
No, no.
Leo gets 10 points. Leo gets 10
Hey,
points.
I'll take them, but you know.
You know, that bishop who gets your check's going to be
I
money.
know. It's going to be a little light this week. Okay, still plenty of time to catch up. Let's go ahead and go to sound number 7. Ian.
That would be the modem logging in. Oh no, hang on, dude. No, oh no.
3,
It's
2,
AOL.
Okay, wait, gentlemen. Damn it. Play it again. Right after the sound, I'm going to enable your buzzers. So. Leo.
I know what it is.
It's Skype right there.
That's it.
My Father, forgive me. I took the Lord's name in vain. Gosh darn it. I knew it was Skype, and my buzz is broken. Unbelievable.
There are 3 more. Let's go ahead and with sound number 8. Ian.
Oh, I was the first.
That is the modem login.
You were 1 question too early, and yes, indeed, 10 points for the 56K dial-up tone.
Play the whole thing, because we got to tell you. You got to tell me it's 300 baud.
1,200, 24. That's 4,800.
We're going higher.
No, I think it was
96.
56 because of the bling bling. The bling bling. You don't hear it. Just give him extra points.
2 more questions. 2 more questions, gentlemen. Someone. Okay.
Not me. Not me.
We're happy here. If we go with sound number 9. Jason.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
That's Windows.
you got this.
Windows.
You,
No?
no, play it one more time. I'm going to enable the buzzers halfway through.
Oh, it's... I know what it is.
Ian?
AOL.
No. Leo Laporte, you get a chance to steal it.
I know what it is now. I know it. Can I get a save? Can I get a save? I know it now.
I can even name the...
See, I know why I got it wrong, because it does come before the Windows.
It does. It does.
See, that's why I got it wrong.
And I need an answer.
Boy, I know it so well. I want to say the Windows shutdown sound.
I know. Can I get a save for half a point?
Okay, will you offer Jason a save?
For half a point? Intel.
Oh, Intel!
Give Jason 5 points. Give Jason 5 points.
Stupid.
There we go.
Well, see, here's the thing. It comes before
right before the end of
Windows.
that.
So that's
That's of course that's
That
Intel.
is indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
Bum, bum, bum. I even have that
Number
sound
10.
effect.
Gentlemen,
All right.
it's very close. We've got Leo with 30 points, Ian with 35, Jason
Not
with 15.
close for me.
Here we go. Sound number 10. Leo Laporte.
That is the Macintosh startup sound.
That is 10 points right
is?
there. That is the Macintosh startup
it is.
chime.
Of course it is.
Leo Laporte with 40 points, Ian with 35, Jason with 15. Leo's already taking his position to receive the crown of the throne of the game of Geeks.
it's electrified.
The travesty of justice. The travesty of justice. Illegitimate. Popular vote.
I got the majority.
Gentlemen, that's it. I'm Robert Ballecer. Thank you for joining us. And remember, when you play the game of Geeks, you either win or we invite you back.
Wow, that was...
Yeah, it got a wee bit competitive. I panicked on some of the questions.
It was very competitive.
Yeah, come on.
That
you know what,
Calacanis guy.
Jason would literally leave our corpses on the side of the road to win if he could. So, you know, it's...
Wow. And it's
Don't
funny
get me
when you
wrong,
play
nothing
that game, and this is why it works. When you play that game, people at home go, oh, that's obvious. That's the Intel sound. Because you're not under pressure.
Yeah,
okay?
you don't have 2-3 cameras on you the whole
We were
time.
under pressure. Of course it's the Intel sound. I could have done that in my sleep. It's like when I'm at home watching Jeopardy. I can answer all those questions. But get you up there and pressing the buzzer, it's not easy. We have more Game of Geeks. We'll play more later. And I think we should do this again. And we should, this time, Father Robert should, I'll host. We'll let Father Robert face off against Jason because apparently he's got a little something in for him, right? Yeah. Are you ready? And now it's time for a call for help. Let's do a call for help. I'm ready for a call for help. From Stony Creek, Ontario, Edwin is on the line. Hi, Edwin.
Thank you for having me.
What is your question, my friend?
Well, I've got a Google Nexus 5, and I like it.
Oh,
It's
what a
probably
classic.
One of my
Look at that.
favorite phones that I've ever had.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's a little old, a little tired. I've had it for a couple of years, and I didn't buy it brand new either. Actually, it was already out for a year or so by the time I got it. I'm looking for something else. I like the Pixel, but I don't like the fact that the Pixel is really, really, really expensive. So I was going to see if you could, think of something that maybe you don't need to take a second mortgage on the house for to buy. That's a good phone.
I do have the Pixel XL, and it is a good phone, but it is pretty highly priced for what it
$750
is.
starting price,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
And I think that's for the little one, which is the one I have.
Yeah, I was kind of a little shocked at the price because Nexus traditionally have been very low cost. Nice, easy, nice, cheap developer phones, and you get all the security updates first. My first thought was when I read the question: is that a 5 or a 5X?
No, that's a 5. That's the original. That's way old.
Original 5.
So
Yeah.
since then, there's been the 6, which was they called Shamu because it was a killer whale of a phone. Then the 6P and the 5X.
Yeah, the 5X.
And now the current is the Pixel. So you're 1, 2, 3 generations back, you know, you can still get a 6P. Google still sells,
and the second-hand market is full of 5Xs at the moment.
And if you like a phone the size of your existing 5, the 5X would be a good choice. Its battery life was not great. 6P was a little better camera.
Battery life got better with the Android update. Battery life died on my 5X for about sort of 3 months after an Android update. But once with the current versions of Android, it worked really well. So 5X you can pick up very cheaply at the moment. But I mean, there's the One phone. There's a lot of Chinese manufacturers who are coming out with.
Let me just look at what Google's chart, because it looks like Google's still selling the 5X and the 6P.
Really?
One thing that's nice is they just pushed out Nougat for the 6. So you would be able to get the most recent operating system on anything newer than your phone.
I've got to say,
or maybe they aren't selling the 6. You're right.
The 6P is a massive bit of kit, though.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're used to the current Nexus 5 size. I tried out the 6P and just couldn't get your hands around it properly. It didn't feel right.
Mobile World Congress is happening. It starts technically Monday. I'm going to be in early tomorrow for the Samsung event. They're not going to announce new phones, but LG is going to announce their G6. The one you might be interested in, the Motorola G5. The G4 was a great $190 as pure a Google phone as you can get that's not made by Google.
Yeah.
It really is almost purely Google. In fact, the few Motorola extensions I really like, I actually miss on my Pixel X, my Pixel XL or my Pixel. So I would take a look. You could even get a G4 right now for, as I said, around $190. You can get it on Amazon or elsewhere. I think that's an excellent phone. You will like it. It's very similar to your phone, but nougat and you know, more up to date. And maybe wait till Monday and see, you know, what the pricing and availability will be on its successor.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of phones coming out. Nokia is coming out with some very low cost. What is
that? The 30? You were talking about the 3310?
Well, there's the 3310, which is a nostalgia phone, but they're also doing.
It's the candy bar phone, right? It's not even Android.
But they're also doing a series of low cost smartphones designed for the Chinese and Indian market, and they're going to be easy enough to get their hands on the grey market. So they're aiming for ultra low price and Nokia reliability.
You mentioned the OnePlus 3T, which is about $400.
Yeah, that's a good low-cost phone.
But that's the best phone you could get that's not a premium price, I think. That's a really good choice.
I'm trying to remember who the Chinese manufacturer was who came out with that ridiculous car as well.
I'm not sure about the car, but there's the Huawei.
Leco, that's it. Leco.
Leco, yeah.
Yeah, Leco do a handset which is the equivalent to a Pixel XL.
Really?
But it's about half the price.
Now remember, the Pixel is made by HTC.
Yeah.
And HTC also has new phones coming, but I think HTC announced we're not going to do low-cost phones anymore.
No.
We're only do high-end, expensive phones. I actually ordered the HTC U, which is a very beautiful phone, but it is much more Pixel XL price. It's around $800. So for $200, my best bet is the Moto G4. I'd be interested to see what they announce with the G5, but you can get the G4 right now for very, very low cost. It's a great, really a great choice. The Gs are great phones.
And Motorola is hand in glove with Google anyway, so it's...
It has so many nice features. They still have the maker, so you can have different backs and different colors and so forth. And at $200, whew,
yeah, I was really disappointed with the Pixel when they decided to go for high-end, high-cost smartphones at a time when Nexus was all about low-cost, clean build, no extra skins on there, just give me the pure guts of it.
That's what I liked about it, actually.
Yeah,
It was a really pure Google experience. It was great. I had a Samsung, and I actually didn't like it because they change Android so much it barely resembles it at times.
Well, and they do what a lot of manufacturers do now, which is they duplicate half a dozen of the Google apps. So you have Google's Android Messenger plus Samsung's Messenger. You have Google's Music Player plus Samsung's Music Player. You have Google's Photos plus Samsung's Gallery.
There's so much crapware on it.
You even have a Samsung S Voice. I mean, there's just no reason to put a third-party voice app when you've got Google Now on.
They are the HP of phones when it comes to putting layers of useless software on there. Then that's where they're coming from on this. So yeah, nice clean build. Then I would go with Nexus or Motorola.
Unless you want to support your people. BlackBerry's not dead yet.
Come on. It's twitching and they're rearranging the eject hairs on the top.
There's a new BlackBerry. It is not as cheap as possible, but it's $550 US. I don't know what the markup will be. And it's a BlackBerry. Look, physical keyboard at the bottom. But it's running Android. I have to say, BlackBerry does a good job. The BlackBerry Priv, which I had, was actually a very nice, very capable Android phone with a physical keyboard.
It was. And I used BlackBerries for 10 years. I was a complete devotee to the keyboard and still think they make a damn good one. But it just... I don't know, there's too much of a feeling that this could be their last one and they're not going to support it properly, and you never know which way. BlackBerry seems to be touting around for a buyer at the moment, and it's a question of how long they're going to support it.
So there's a lot of choices. Mobile World Congress is next week. You might want to wait and see. But for my money, for the purest, closest to the purest Google experience, why don't they still do those Google Play editions? Remember that? They would take a Samsung and they would put just pure Google on it, and it was really the best of both worlds, because I do like Samsung's hardware. I think they make great cameras. It's a great phone, but I agree with you. They kind of crap it up with Samsung junk.
Yes, very much so.
Motorola, not so much. They still have a little bit of that Google DNA still.
But the thing I liked about the Nexus was you could buy it direct and you didn't have to get any of the telco stuff on there as well.
Yeah,
and you can use it for
you can do that with the Moto G4, by the way.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, that's
get a Virgin build on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might try to the Moto G. That sounds good, actually.
I love it. I think it's a great phone.
BlackBerry I can't do, even though it's made here in Canada. I had a BlackBerry Storm, and my gosh, what an unfortunate phone that was. It was just awful.
When I first met my wife, she was rocking the Storm. And I think I put it on the I put it on the roof of the car and drove off. Oops. I think I might have broken your Storm. I talked to her on an iPhone. She's never looked back. So, yeah, that was the one where you click the whole screen, right?
Well, I've still got two of the BlackBerry tablets at home because they gave them...
They sold it as tactile touch, and what a mistake that was. It was really bad.
Yeah. Well, if touch is not tactile, I don't know what it is. Edwin, it's great to talk to you. There it is. There's the Storm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
to talk to you.
All right. Have a great day. Take care.
Thank you, you too.
We're going to answer some questions next week, and you know who's joining us next week? It'll be old times. The Dark Tipper is back. Kevin Rose will be my co-host. Got a question for the Dark Tipper? Here's how you ask.
Need tech help? The new screensavers are here with answers. Email your tech questions to newscreensavers@twit.tv.
Oh, what have I done?
What have you done? What have you done?
No, it's just like you accidentally left it on top of the car. It's just like, whoops,
yeah.
What a fool I am.
I have a history of doing that. When I first started working at a radio station in San Francisco, KNBR, this was 1987, and they were still using a PDP-8 to do their music playlists. And not only that, it didn't have a hard drive, it had a big 8-inch floppy. And I was the music director, and in order to do the playlist once a week, I had to take the precious floppy, put it in there, you would hear the head go, chonk, and you would generate a playlist on a dot matrix printer. It was the loudest, most annoying thing. And by '87, we had PCs.
Yeah.
So one day, it accidentally broke. To this day, I don't know what happened.
A cup of tea accidentally just went, whoa.
I put it on the roof of my car and drove off. It really is a great technique. Our show today brought to you by Blue Apron. We had Blue Apron, yesterday. I made such a good Blue Apron dish. I was so happy. We made udon noodles. And the thing about the Blue Apron is all the ingredients you need, they come in a box, refrigerated box. Each box has 3 meals, either for 2, for a couple, or for a family. We did the udon noodles. It came with everything we needed. I sauteed up some chopped ginger. Was ginger in there, and a little bit of scallions, and what else did it have in there? It was so good. It was so fragrant and delicious. And then I put it in a miso broth, and I added some sesame oil. We heated up the udon noodles. We had some bok choy. It was so good. There it is, right there. It was so good.
Well, thank you for the dinner advice. I'll take you up on that. Right?
It's that one on there. It was. Anyway. So here's the thing. Blue Apron's mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone, while supporting a more sustainable food system, setting the highest standard for ingredients, and building a community of home chefs. And the best of all of this doesn't cost you more than shopping. You know, at the end of the day, the last thing you want to do is plan a meal, go buy all the ingredients, then come home, make them, and eat. By the time you do that, it's 9 p.m. So what do? You go to Jack in the Box and have a lovely cat meat taco. Ugh. That's not good for you. It's not good for the world. Wouldn't it be so much better? You go home and a box is waiting for you with all the ingredients you need. A giant glossy recipe card with instructions and pictures, and you can get all the information you need on the website too if you want. They have videos, and then you make this amazing meal. It's about 40 minutes. It's very healthful, it's low calorie, and it costs you less than $10 per person. You will spend 60% more going to the grocery store. Blue Apron cuts costs because they don't have a brick and mortar store. They don't have to have clerks. They just deliver you the ingredients. Seafood is sourced sustainably under standards developed in partnership with the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch. The beef, the chicken, the pork comes from responsibly raised animals. The produce is sourced from farms that practice regenerative farming. It's all fresh, never frozen. I just love it. Now, Blue Apron delivers to 99% of the continental United States. There's no weekly commitment. You only get deliveries when you want them. You choose the menu items. And you customize it based, how about this? Cashew chicken stir fry with tango mandarins and jasmine rice. Or, I know this would be good for you, Ian. Roasted pork with apple, walnut, and farro salad. Or, if you like fish, crispy barramundi with quinoa and roasted carrot salad. They have vegetarian solutions too, like this udon we had, the udon noodle soup with miso. Mushroom and goat cheese quiche, pasta and arrabbiata sauce with roasted carrot and tango's egg. I can go on and on. You should go right now to blueapron.com/NSS. Get your first 3 free meals free with your first purchase and free shipping. blueapron.com/NSS. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. All right, we're going to wrap things up in just a second. Before we do, though, Megan has a follow-up. Last week, remember, she showed us how to find out what privacy information Facebook is leaking about you. Now she's going to show us how we can modify Facebook. We'll start with ad preferences. Watch.
Last week, I told you how you could check what Facebook was publicly revealing to the world for free about you. This week, I'm here to give you some tips on how to view and adjust what Facebook knows about you and sells to all of its advertisers. Facebook allows you to make adjustments to this information, but they do not make it easy. I will make it easy. Open Facebook, find an ad, click the downward arrow next to the ad, and then click, "Why am I seeing this?" Then click Manage My Ad Preferences to see some, but sadly not all, of the weird groups that Facebook has put you in based on the seemingly innocuous stuff that you have posted. Now, Facebook wants to target you as specifically as possible, so they will allow you to adjust these preferences. Under lifestyle and culture, Facebook still thinks I'm interested in the Google Pixel. Been there, done that, no thank you. Tap and then give it a frowny face. Then you can spend some time digging around and seeing what other bizarro groups Facebook puts you in. Close friends with a woman with a birthday in 7 to 30 days. Obviously, that means I'm in the market for some scented candles. Also, apparently, I am interested in life and gratitude and society. Very random. I am also receiving ads based on my interest in Neil deGrasse Tyson, Robert Scoble, Dan Rather, Joss Whedon, and Leo Laporte. Now, there are all kinds of other ways Facebook targets you with their ads: information you've shared with businesses, the apps you've connected, your location, and your other online activity. Some of that you can turn off, but most of it you cannot. That, my friend, is the price of using Facebook. I am Megan Maroney. I host iOS Today every Monday around 1:30 Pacific, and Tech News Today with Jason Howell every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific.
Thank you, Megan Maroney, and I'll see her tomorrow for iOS Today. Day after tomorrow. Yeah, day after tomorrow. Ian's been great having you.
Oh, always fun, and you've had some great people on the lineup.
Wasn't this amazing?
That Astro Boffin was just superb. You know, I mean, it's one of those things when you speak to people at NASA like that, they kind of, on one level, you're excited because you're learning so much, and at the same level, it's just like, I must be like a shaved baboon to this guy.
I know.
I mean, it's very discouraging.
How do planets work? No, he was great though, and his enthusiasm was catching.
This is every time I was down at JPL for the Curiosity landing when that
must have been great.
And just the naked enthusiasm these people have for what they do, it's gratifying. And that's how we're going to get out there. Somebody did ask in the press conference for the Discovery this week, you know, what's it going to take to get out there? And it's like, well, to make the James Webb Telescope, they called that a 10 miracle problem. They had 10 technological challenges, like materials that weren't invented yet and that sort of thing, and they got it up. He said, To get out there, you're looking at about 100 miracle problem.
Yeah.
But they're working on it, you know.
I don't know if we're going to be leaving this planet anytime soon. Let's take the best care we can of it. Just so far, it's the only planet we got. But it's very exciting to see the progress that science is making. It's really heartening.
I mean, yeah.
What are you working on these days at the Register? Anything interesting?
Oh, well, I mean...
Great Cloudflare story.
The week in security has just been an absolute bonus. I mean, a lot of our guys are going to be in Barcelona for Mobile World Congress next week, which is the annual jamboree for the mobile phone industry. It's going to be pickpocket central. There's going to be phones everywhere. No, I mean, the Barcelona pickpockets are some of the most feared in Europe because
my son had his phone stolen in Barcelona.
Yeah, I can, it's... I was at the last Mobile Congress I was at, which was, 2007. They had hijacked, a month before, a shipment of conference carry bags, the swag bags they give you when you actually log in. And they had hijacked a big box of these and had put bricks in them and were going around the conference just waiting until somebody had their bag, swapping them out. You picked it up,
wow.
These people are smart. It's just, but it's a great show, and there's always lots of stuff coming out, and it's really the point that you're going to think. So I'm expecting a lot of mobile stuff. I'd like to see much more stuff on secure mobile, particularly, because I think that's been an area which has kind of fallen by the wayside.
Whatever happened to that black phone? Remember that?
There's a lot of internal wranglings going on.
The problem is it takes so long, and the phone cycles right now are months, not years.
Yeah.
That you develop something 2 years ago, by the time you're ready to ship it, it's out of date.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge.
I know. It's I mean, there's so much that could be done with phones if they were actually built in a secure manner, but it's just
no market for it. Really.
No, I mean, people really don't care as long as they can get their cat videos and pay for stuff.
Yeah.
It's awkward, but what can you do?
We begin our coverage of Mobile World Congress tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Pacific. That's 1 p.m. Eastern, 1800 UTC. I'll be live streaming the Samsung event, commenting on it as we go. I think I'm not making anybody come in. I'll just do it. 10 a.m. we'll start, and we'll continue, of course, to cover Mobile World Congress on all of our shows all week long. Only a couple of days left. If you haven't taken our Twit survey, we ask you to do so. It really helps us understand you. It helps us sell ads on the shows, and it helps us pay for that expensive gear transition. Why don't we do that one more time? It's twit.tv/survey. That's not cheap, my friends. You got to pay for that somehow. We made the survey a lot shorter this year, just a couple of minutes, just enough for us to know a little bit more about our audience. In aggregate, we don't keep any personal information, of course, about you. We respect your privacy. It's one of the reasons we do this survey. A lot of other venues will collect information about their audience through the website, through web bugs and things, and we don't do that. So the survey is the only way we really can find out who you are. Twit.tv/survey. We also have hats now, not this hat, but we do have hats.
This is Nintendo Switch hats.
Yeah, you thought make Twit great again? That'd be good. I'd like to get that.
It's the right color,
It doesn't quite fit, but but we actually have good hats, and we've ordered some, so I'll be able to demonstrate them soon, I hope. They're Twit logo and Twit.tv hats, and we have them in both styles, snap brim and curved brim. You go to twit.tv/store, twit.tv/store. And you will go to the site. We've got mugs, we've got T-shirts, lots of good stuff, including Screensavers merch. It's not a big profit center for us. It's mostly just because you asked and we delivered. Thank you all for being here. Is there anything else I should talk about? Kevin Rose will be here next week. That'll be a lot of fun.
I haven't said wanker on air yet, so let's get that out.
You said boffin. You said, what was it, gubbins?
Gubbins.
What the hell is that?
This is something which my wife doesn't get it either. So, in our home growing up, you had a gubbins drawer, which is a drawer.
Oh yeah, everybody has a gubbins drawer.
The odds and sods that are in there. So when we were moving house, I had a box marked gubbins box, and she's like, "What on earth is gubbins?" And it's the bric-a-brac. It's semi-used batteries. It's old screws. It's
fish
screwdrivers
pairings or refuse. Any bits or pieces.
Yes, I don't generally put fish pairings into boxes and shift them around houses, but
You silly gubbin. If I start another network, forget Twit. I'm going to call it the Gubbin Network.
Well, we had a problem actually, because I did a story earlier this week about there's a dam up in Northern California, where the glory hole spillway has started flowing for the first time.
Yes.
So we had a bit of an innuendo-laden article about that.
I bet you did.
But, well, as only we can, but as it turns out, glory hole is also a term used by older British people for the cupboard under the stairs that you throw everything into. So when I first brought my girlfriend home, and she's like, "Oh, put your coats in the glory hole," and there's just like, you know,
it is the morning glory reservoir, and
Indeed.
there is.
But you can
I
now
guess
see
there's
down-
a big bath stopper that they pulled, and now it's all going down the drain.
But now, you see, the last time this flowed was 2006, and now with commercial drone photography,
We get
you
a
can
good shot of
actually
it.
see what's going on inside. It's fantastic.
That's cool.
But
okay,
the things the rain has given us, eh?
Don't forget, we've got a newsletter. We still do that, right? Okay. You can sign up. It's a good way to see what's coming up on the week ahead. twit.tv/newsletter. This show is, and I can tell you right now, every Saturday, 3 p.m. Pacific. Is that right? 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 2300 UTC. If you like to watch live. But remember, live is just watching us make mistakes, goof around. All the good stuff will be edited out and delivered to your door like a newspaper suitable for gubbins wrapping. If you just go to twit.tv/NSS, you can subscribe there or even watch there, audio and video. twit.tv/NSS or wherever you get your finer podcasts. Well, that's it. We're done. Thank you, everybody, for your questions, your suggestions, your comments, for watching. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next time on the new Screensavers. Bye-bye.